will continue until 12:46.
Okay. Let's try to give a bit of speed into this one. And by the way, I will share with Mika a few considerations about security and Zoom, because I'm also the security manager of the network here. Just remember, most of the security problems come from the people, not only from the technology, and that's a big problem that we have, but that's a different story. So let's go to LoLa. LoLa means low latency. Low latency. That's the name out of it, and that is the main scope out of it, and that's why it was built. So this is why we are going to talk about it, and it also means high quality, of course. So how it was born, for those who want to know a bit of story, it was 15 years ago. We are having a network masterclass between Pisa and Miami, so very far away. We had a wonderful sound quality for that time. We also had a wonderful video quality. We had full HD. In 2005, full HD was not something very common. And so we were thinking, okay, what a wonderful demonstration about music teaching we are giving to the audience, which was, of course, technical people, but also musicians, teachers, and so on. And after that, one of the music teachers came to us and said, to achieve an effective music teaching, you don't need only to listen, you need to be able to play together with them. Can we do it together over the network? And of course, the answer was, no, we can't, because it was just impossible at that time. That person was actually director of the Tartini Music Conservatory, and he had the good advantage that he was not only a musician, but a computer scientist and a mathematician as well. So he put together a team of people and said, I believe we can do that. And given that he believed in that so strongly, and then it happened, in 2017, he won the Giant Community Award, which is the prize in the networking community, which is given to somebody who has got a brilliant idea, which became a service, and an effective service after that. And I think he's the first and only musician who got that technology prize up to now. Everything else is going to people which is doing real things about networking, but that's just a bit of history. So when we were asked to do, okay, let's try to make LoLa happen, we started, of course, to make thinking about what you need to play together. There is a lot of literature, of course, around, but we wanted also to make a number of experiments ourselves. These are data which most of the music teachers don't think about because it's so natural for them. But when you need to go and do some technology, you need to have the data and the numbers as well. So when you play together, the latency must be less than 30 milliseconds, which means 10 meters in air. There is a reason why a symphonic orchestra is made like that on the stage, because the last row is already far beyond 10 meters, and in fact, the percussionist look at the conductor, don't listen to the others, otherwise he is late, and he knows it very well. You need to see each other, because without eyes, you don't synchronize correctly. You need to see each other also when you teach, because without looking, you don't see if the student is doing it right. You need to be fully immersed into the sound, because, of course, you need to have the ability to understand what your instrument is doing when it interacts with the sound profile of the room you're in. And you also need to listen to the timbre, all this kind of stuff. So you also need to feel the ambience, and you need to feel the presence of the other musicians. They must be there with you because you're going to interact with them. And above all, you don't need to be distracted. I mean, if you try to put a musician in front of a lot of technology with camera, cables, videos, whatever, they get distracted. They need to do music and they need to do art. And of course, you need to make art, because if you don't have any art, there is no technology which can help you to make a good performance. That's a fundamental piece of it. So given all this data, we want to try to make LoLa. So LoLa means essentially low latency, because it has an interaction time between the time that the sound and the video goes into the devices and goes out to the other side by itself, which is less than 5 milliseconds. 5 milliseconds means 30 centimeters in air. So it is even more fast than you are on a stage or in a classroom. So that is also why, for example, if you use LoLa inside a campus between two rooms, you need to delay LoLa a little bit, because musicians are not used to play at 30 centimeters away from another. They are used to play about a couple of meters from each other. And of course, LoLa also got all the other needed features because that it was designed for music teaching and so on. During this period, of course, many people asked, can I use LoLa to play at home? And so let's make it very clear what LoLa is not and what LoLa is. It is not just an app that you download and install. Unluckily, it is not. It cannot be. It is not a platform like Jamkazam that we will listen about later on, where you log in, get an account, and try to play together. It does not run into a browser. You need some devices, some professional microphones, some real computers to make it happen, and so on. And it does not allow you to connect many sites. In the last version, the version 2.0, you connect only 3 sites. And the reason is that if you want to connect sites with LoLa at the quality that LoLa provides, then you need a lot of resources, network resources and computing resources. And we have a prototype which connects up to 8 or 10 sites of LoLa, but we don't distribute it because nobody will be able to use it. So it's useless. I mean, I have a rocket to go to the moon, but who is going to launch the rocket? Let's keep the car, which everybody can drive. And above all, LoLa is not an audio-only system because the second point you saw before, you need eye contact, is a fundamental piece of the design of LoLa. So video is part of it. You cannot disable video. If you disable video, LoLa does not work. So LoLa is a multi-component system, which is made essentially by 3 pieces that you need to install everywhere. So just not an application. It is the state-of-the-art technology to optimize low latency because it is called LoLa. The goal of LoLa is to be low latency in audio and video. So if you ask me, can you make LoLas lower and then be able to play at home? The answer is yes, but then you need to change the name. It's not LoLa anymore, it's something else. But if I do that, then I create Zoom, I create EduTeams, I create something which is already existing, so it doesn't make any sense. LoLa is a system which has got audio as a core part of it. So LoLa delivers studio quality multi-channel uncompressed audio, 44.1 or 40K kilohertz, 24 bits. It means that you get the same sound that you get into a professional recording. It is better than a CD recording. And it is designed for music, teaching, and rehearsing. Of course, you can also use for performances, but the fact that LoLa was used for performances was a side unwanted effect. People decided to use it to make a concert event, but it was designed to make teaching. And it is designed to make teaching. It is a teaching tool. So it is made of 3 components. Of course, piece of software, easy. That one you download and install. You need a specialized hardware. Specialized doesn't mean something very special. It means that you go to a shop and you buy a gaming PC, with some pieces which are professional sound card and a professional camera, which is not what you get normally into the PC, but it's something you go into a shop and you buy. But the very important part of it is that you need a very high-end network. The network is a fundamental component of LoLa, because if the network is low or cannot transfer the data in correct and clean way, then LoLa just does not work because it's missing 1/3 of its components, which is the network. This is a big problem at home, of course, because at home you don't get the network. When people were asking us, can I run LoLa from home? The answer was, yes, but you need the network, and you don't have the network at home. You have something which is a video distribution device system. It's a content distribution network. The network at home is done for you to be able to see a film on Netflix, not for you to be able to play and upload a video to the others. That's a big problem, but that's it. So that's a big problem that we can't do anymore. So hardware, well, you go and buy a high-end gaming PC, but of course, you don't even need a tower PC that we normally install into academies and institutions because they're the top one. We have a version of LoLa which runs on a laptop, on a gaming laptop, which is not so expensive and anybody can buy. But of course, you need a camera which is fast. There is no webcam which is able to be fast as a LoLa needs, because remember, it's 5 milliseconds. So, but there are many cameras which are so fast. The camera you see down there is a typical camera which is used by LoLa, but it's the same camera which any car which has got some, let's say, driving assistant system installed has got. If you drive a car which has got a keep you in lane automated system, it has that camera behind the mirror in front of you, because that camera is watching the road and keeping you in lane. And that's exactly the same camera that LoLa needs. And so it's not anything very strange. But of course, you know the classical saying in computer audio, garbage in, garbage out. If you don't put a good audio in, you get the garbage out of it. So of course, to run LoLa, you need a minimal professional audio setup. So a real microphone, maybe a mixer, audio monitor, which are not just the loudspeaker of the laptop or the headphones I'm using now, because that's a bad device for audio. This is also something you can buy. I mean, in the, let's say, reduced version of LoLa, you just need a good audio interface, a good microphone, a good headphone or audio monitor, and that's it. You don't really need a mixer, but you need them. If you have the wrong microphone, you don't transmit the music, you transmit something else. And that's the big problem for music, of course. You need the network. Normally in academies, you want to have a gigabit connection, upload and download, clean and stable. It is not only a matter of bandwidth, it's a matter of stability and clean service. I mean, if the network is unstable, what you do? Well, you add buffering. This is what YouTube does, but YouTube is 30 seconds late, even more sometimes, because the network for which YouTube and other services are designed are unstable. And also things like Zoom or EduMeet or Google Meet, they are designed for unstable networks. So they do a lot of buffering. That's why they are so late that you cannot play together. Actually, to be able to go together and have a stable network for LoLa, you need 100 megabit. That's enough, because the video you can reduce in compression and it works. But at the moment, the problem is that only the results in the education network are okay for this. Not only because of the bandwidth, because of the stability, but they're not for everyone. I mean, we are nearly whole at home in this moment. I believe I am the only one which has got a stable 100 megabit among all of us, but because I am on the results network, I'm not on the commercial providers. There are a few places in the world where this is going to change, or already has changed. For example, you don't know where Opelika is. It's a very small village in the middle of Alabama, but there, the 20,000 people living there has got a real gigabit Ethernet at home in every house. So there they can play with LoLa together in the village, but that's one of the few places where they can do it. Hopefully, it will change later on. So what are the few technical features of LoLa in summary? The latency is very fast. The audio is 44 or 48. So, for example, you can connect LoLa to Dante, and they work together if you want to transmit your audio system aware. It is 60 frames per second. You may ask me why. Why do I need 60 frames if I'm only able to see maybe 20 or 25? Because of two main reasons. If you only do 20 or 25, the movement that you see is not as fluid as your eyes see in a natural movement. Because we are not people, humans are not designed to see frames. We are designed to see light, and that's a different story. So the more frames we send to the eyes of the recipients, the more natural the feeling is. A second big reason is that if the frame rate is very high, your eyes don't get tired because they don't see artifacts, and so it helps quite a lot. And another thing we discovered by using LoLa for teaching is that, for example, if you play strings, at 60 frames, you see the bow. At 20 frames, you don't see it. You see a shadow of the bow. It can run up to 3 locations, but it can have 4 cameras. And the reason for 4 cameras is very simple. You must be able to see the student from many different viewpoints. And that's a big part of the application, which very few other applications can have. So, of course, you need the software, you get it. You buy the software, you buy the hardware, and you connect it to a high-end network. That's the only real problem that we have now to make it a tool to teach from home. What do I get? Well, the sound quality is fully preserved. There is no manipulation. There is no music mode in LoLa like it was in Polycom, or there is no way to make Zoom able to handle sound in a better way, because there is no need. There is no manipulation. What you get in is what you get out, as it is. Normally, you use LoLa with multi-channel because one microphone, one channel, one audio monitor on the other side, and then you create the sound as you want on the recipient one. The video is fluid. I told you already why. The system is non-invasive because the camera you have seen is a very small one. It's a cube which is 2 by 2 centimeters. You can make it disappear wherever, you don't see it. The monitors can be a large screen, a small screen, whatever you want, but it's not a big one, it's not invasive, and so on. Of course, you need to put the microphones, but for example, some musicians even want to have the clip microphone on the instrument. String players, let's say brass players, very often use the clip microphone instead of a microphone with a stand in front of them because they feel it is much better for them. The big good thing about LoLa is that musicians, including the students and newcomers, forget about LoLa itself in a few minutes. They are worried when they start. They say, how is going to be this kind of strange stuff I'm going to do with a microphone and somebody far away from me? But after 5 minutes, they talk about music and they think about music and they forget about the technology. They don't think at it anymore, which is very good because it must be transparent for them. In some occasion, we got comments from the teacher and the musician that they get much more detail with LoLa than in physical presence. The reason for this are quite various, from very physical ones, like, for example, you get the microphone much closer to the instrument, then a teacher can be closer to a student, so you get more details. You might be able to control the sound better. You might be able to zoom, for example, on the face of the singer. One funny comment I had once during a singing lesson was a tenor was singing the Winterreisen, one of the most sad pieces of Winterreisen, one when he's singing about his girlfriend, which is just dead. And the teacher was saying all the time, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. And the student would say, what's wrong in my singing? And the teacher said, with LoLa, I can zoom on your face and you have a happy face. You must be very sad. Your girlfriend has died. That's not the way to sing this piece. So things that you cannot do it in presence because probably you're 10 meters away and you don't see a happy face. But with that stuff you can do. The big thing about LoLa is that it is developed by the community, by the music community. So you can ask new features and we try to make them happen. And you can try to experiment and then come back and so on. So it's a big advantage that something is controlled by us and not by the vendors. They decide what to add to a product. We decide what to add in our stuff because it's the stuff made for the music community. So what I can do, well, I can play at distance, of course, as if I am a few meters away. The average situation at 5,000 kilometers, like Paolo, for example, knows very well when we did the performance between Azerbaijan and Tallinn, is that you are about 15 meters away, and that's it. You can have different things, like you can record and reply the performance piece. You can really do it online and live in the new version, and this is a very important part. I remember when I was a piano student, a long discussion with my teacher saying, that's wrong, I don't like it. And then I played it, and then it was again, that's wrong, I don't like it. Now it could be able to record me and say, now let's listen to it together. And that device is why I believe that is wrong. It's a wonderful tool to teach in a better and different way. You can see, of course, the performance student contemporary from 4 viewpoints, which you cannot do live because you cannot be in 4 places together at the same time. But of course, you can do masterclass, curricula courses, share, etc. Because, of course, for example, imagine there is one real case in Vienna at MDW. They don't teach accordion, but accordion is taught in Trieste and in Ljubljana. And now in Vienna, they have an accordion class with no teachers because the teachers are from the other institutions. It is very easy to enable collective teaching. It happens automatically. When a student is going to receive a lesson from somebody who is remote, it is very unlikely that the student is there alone. Its own local teacher is going to be there. And the student will have 2 teachers. And what happens naturally is that after a while, the 2 teachers start to collaborate and discuss among themselves. So it completely changes the way of teaching because you don't have one teacher, you have multiple teachers, and you're in an environment where teachers might even not agree on the way to perform a piece. And many of the comments which came from the students were very positive, saying, it opened to me a completely new way of learning, because now I have an open mind world of different opinions, all together at the same time, together with me. You can also experiment new teaching methods, of course. In one of the videos, which I will post you the link later on, a saxophone teacher invented a new way of teaching the saxophone because he had the camera, which he could not do without the camera. And of course, you create yourselves the way of doing this kind of stuff. Where are the LoLa partners? Well, this is only the part of Europe, so because normally you can play together in real time only across a continent. Why a number of them are red? Because they are the one which installed LoLa during the pandemic. They woke up and said, I need it, I need it, I need it. And so you can see it's growing quite fast. But there are, of course, partners all over the world. I mean, if you are teaching conduction of an orchestra, you can do teaching between continents. I mean, there is an ongoing masterclass series going on for LoLa about conducting between Trieste and Cleveland. And they don't have any issue of latency, even if the latency there is 120 milliseconds because of the speed of light. But it depends on what you're going to do with it. So these are 3 links of a special project which is called Swing. Swing is a project which is dedicated to teaching methodologies in remote places using LoLa. So it is only not about developing LoLa in a better way, technical enhancement and test and so on, but it is also about seeing what pedagogy in music teaching means when there is technology in the middle, how it does change, what are the pros and the cons and so on. And these 3 links are the interviews which were made after the first year of the project in the 3 different institutions. So you will listen not to the technologists there, you will listen to the student and the teachers, and they will tell you exactly what they feel and what were the results, pros and cons, and so it's very interesting. The project is going on, of course, for another 2 years, but we will have more stuff. Use the subtitles because, of course, the teachers speak in their native language. So that's the only way to make it international. So more info is here if you want, but I guess the most important thing is that we talk to each other, and then we take questions. So I tried to be fast, so we have time for some questions.
Thank you very much, Claudio. It was amazing in terms of the fastness, but also very clear and concise presentation of LoLa. There's one question in chat about any chance of using 5G network when it arrives with LoLa system. Do you, Claudio, have some ideas about that?
Yes. Well, in the original title of my presentation, there was also 5G. Then I decided not to put it into there because 5G is a lot of hope, but unluckily, as far as we know, is just a lot of marketing at the moment. We did 5G experiments. Paolo knows very well. We did a 5G experiment in Estonia together with a local 5G delivery company. Well, to make it work, it took a week of engineering, only 2 locations connected, and a lot of buffering to make it work. So unluckily, 5G is not what it promises to be. It's just yet another way to download things. It is asymmetric. The upload is very bad, the download is quite good. And it is a radio link, so it has by itself a lot of latency on the radio part of the session, because it's a radio. I mean, nobody thinks about it, but a radio antenna can send or receive not the same stuff at the same time because of physics. So I send, but I don't listen. I listen, but I don't send. So this already doubles the latency. That's it. Then no way to do something different. But it is designed for download. I mean, we have been discussing with a number of 5G companies quite a lot and made also experiment with a number of them with LoLa. But the real problem is that the latency and above all the stability of the 5G network is not at all enough. So we concluded there's no way to run 5G and LoLa together. We need a fiber. We need a wire.
Thank you, Claudio. This was very clear answer for that question that has been in many many places going on what made a 5G resolve, and it's good to know that not get your hopes up with everything with new inventions. Thank you. Some other questions. I'm sure there are some questions or perhaps some experiences using LoLa, commenting on what Claudio presented.
I have a question, or maybe it's more a thought. We have some experience on using LoLa here at the Norwegian Academy of Music, and I'm thrilled with the opportunities that this system provides us with. But you said that teachers and students have to play together to facilitate learning. And yes, I'm aware of, and it's a fact that that method is commonly used in one-to-one tuition, but it's not the only possible method. So when I work with my colleagues at the Academy now, there's also, they also always ask for more technology, more solutions to use the same methods as they are used to. But whatever technology we use, I guess we will never have a situation which is similar to being face-to-face. So besides developing new technology, a more available solution, I guess, will be to challenge us on the methods, the teaching methods that we are using. Because there are other ways to facilitate learning than just playing together. I'm not saying that they are just playing together. It's so much more in instrumental teaching. But the main thing is to challenge our colleagues on, okay, what can you do with established available technology? And that's even, maybe it's a faster solution to the problems they are facing today. That was more like a thought than a question. Thanks.
No, but I agree. I mean, the LoLa is a tool, as many other tools. So of course, when you try to use it, you try to emulate exactly what you have been doing forever, because that's the only one which can help you in doing that. But when teachers start to use the tool, they start to think, and they themselves invent new way of doing it. I mean, the what they call the Moviola one, the play and record and replay on the spot, was an invention which came out of the teachers because of a lot of discussions. Because what they were trying to do before, I mean, was just as it was already presented, to record it, post it on YouTube, then we watch it together. And then they said, "Can I do it live?" Yes, you can. With LoLa, you can do it. There is a record button and a replay button. And that is something you don't do live in a room, because you don't have the possibility to do that. For example, the sax teacher, which I said before, she's in one of the video of the swing project that I said before. She invented a way of telling the saxophone student how to finger on the keys by using the camera, which she was doing by going there and staying behind and touching the keys. So she said, "No, I can do it in a different way, and then put the camera on the keys, and then I tell you what you're doing right or wrong." Other things like a violin teacher said, when he had the two cameras, "Wonderful, now I can watch to you from behind. Understand you're going to have a neck ache in 5 minutes because you keep the violin like that, and that's wrong." And things like that happen so all the time. So it's a tool, and make the tool what it is. I mean, it's a hammer. What do I do with a hammer? Many things.
Yes.
Very Thank you very much.
There's a comment on the chat about from David Joken about the sustainability issues that is caused when people are not traveling, and that's of course very important in this time and age. But also Jim has a question there. Go ahead, Jim. There is room for this one question, since I noticed I made a mistake in the program that gives us 5 minutes more. So you have about 1 minute now.
Yeah, very short. So first of all, thank you, Claudio, for the presentation. And I'm a big fan of LoLa. We use it a lot at the Royal Academy of Music. So what I like a lot is that we have, as you say, both the picture and audio in sync. Wonderful. But I also noticed that I would love to have a sustainable system, and I could live with reaching out for students from very many different countries and have the audio in, you could say, with low latency, and then live with the picture on the side from another layer system. And as far as I can tell, there's no really sustainable system that works yet as good. So did I get you right that that it won't be an option, as you see it, for LoLa to also offer the audio side for preparing us for the another pandemic, for example, and then at least have the audio, but not the picture?
Well, what I said is that LoLa cannot work technically without the video. I mean, there is a button in LoLa, I switch the video off, but then the audio is out of sync and the audio gets bad because of the way it is engineered into the system itself. It has to send the audio and the video together, because otherwise it does not work. Now, what we are working on is we are trying to make a version which has got a very degraded video service. So still with the video, but not so heavy, not so important. Stefano, who is the engineer behind it, is even trying to make LoLa work with the embedded webcams to see if we can get this kind of minimal video alongside with the audio and have it up and running. So I'm not saying no, it's not going to happen. This is going to happen. So we will have a very maybe stamp size video only, but the high quality audio, because all of the other systems, all including the one that I mentioned before in the chat, they use codecs. They all. And the only way to send good audio is not to use a codec. There's no other chance. I mean, I was discussing yesterday with a recording on YouTube, and I got the original uncompressed audio, and whatever you get out of any codec is not the same. It can't be the same. And there was another application which unluckily has disappeared, which was able to do the same as LoLa, which was Conference XP. There you could tell the application, do not compress the audio. A pity that it was a Microsoft piece which has gone together when Windows 7 has gone. But so that it's a good reason to keep LoLa up and running, also in minimal condition, but with the LoLa audio. Yes, that will happen.
Thank you, Jim, for the question, and Claudio for clear answer. Now I noticed one of my mistakes has been in the timetable of the